You believe you are resting. You believe you are unwinding. You believe you are simply filling the empty hours between one day's work and the next. But I tell you this: the enemy that defeats you is not the one that attacks, but the one that lulls you into a false peace. There is a force in your world that offers endless comfort, endless stories, and endless distraction. It is a soft, glowing cage that promises escape from reality, yet it is the most efficient thief of your potential. It does not steal your money, it steals your time. It does not steal your possessions, it steals your capacity for action. It does not steal your life, it steals your dreams. You call it entertainment. I call it a slow, deliberate surrender. In my time, the warrior's greatest fear was to be caught unprepared. Your greatest fear should be to be caught unlived, to reach the end of your days and realize you spent your most valuable hours watching the lives of others instead of forging your own. If you do not recognize the subtle blade that cuts your will, you will bleed out your ambition without ever knowing you were wounded. Hear me now, for I will show you the Musashi method to turn passive consumption into the fuel for your own mastery. I am Miyamoto Musashi. I spent my life pursuing mastery in all things, not just the sword. I learned that the difference between a master and a novice is not talent, but the relentless elimination of the unnecessary. The modern world has replaced the harsh discipline of the battlefield with the soft tyranny of the screen. Where I once warned against the temptation of luxury and comfort, I now warn against the temptation of the endless story. You think of your dreams as grand, distant goals, but a dream is nothing more than an unexecuted action. Every hour you spend watching a fictional hero's journey is an hour you are not spending on your own. You are consuming the fruit of another person's labor, while your own garden lies untended. The problem is not the content itself. The problem is the posture of passivity it forces upon you. When you sit and watch, you are in the posture of a receiver, a spectator. You are training your mind to be a sponge, not a sword. You are practicing the art of doing nothing, and in the pursuit of mastery, every hour spent practicing the wrong thing is a step backward. The true cost of this passive consumption is the erosion of your will. It is the slow death of the impulse to create, to build, to act. You are trading the difficulty of reality for the ease of fiction. And in that trade, you are losing the only battle that matters, the battle for your own life. To defeat this thief of dreams, you must adopt 3 principles from the warrior's code. 3 ways to turn your focus from passive consumption to active creation. Lesson 1. The principle of the empty space. The void. In the Book of 5 Rings, I speak of the void, the place where there is no form, no thought, and no attachment. Thus, modern man fears the void. He fears the silence, the boredom, the empty space between tasks. He rushes to fill it with the noise of the screen. But the void is not empty. It is fertile. It is the space where strategy is born, where ideas take shape, and where the will is sharpened. When you fill every moment with the stories of others, you leave no room for your own story to begin. The application. The 15-minute rule. You must reclaim the empty spaces in your day. When you finish a task, or when you feel the urge to watch, impose a 15-minute void. Do not pick up the remote. Do not open the app. Sit in silence. Let your mind be bored. This is not punishment. It is training. It is the moment when your mind, deprived of easy stimulation, is forced to generate its own purpose. You will find that in that 15 minutes, the impulse to act, to write, to plan, to practice will arise naturally. The warrior does not fear the empty space. He uses it to prepare his next move. Lesson 2. The principle of direct engagement, the true strike. I taught that a warrior must never strike with a half-hearted effort. Every strike must be a true strike, a decisive, committed action. The modern world encourages the opposite: the half-hearted scroll, the half-watched show, the half-finished project. When you binge-watch, you are practicing the art of half-living. You are present in the fictional world, but absent in your own. This trains your mind to accept low-effort, low-impact engagement. When it comes time to face a real challenge, to start a business, to learn a skill, to have a difficult conversation, your mind will default to the passive posture it has been practicing. The application, the single-task commitment. You must commit to one thing at a time. When you are working, work with the focus of a warrior in a duel. When you are resting, rest with the stillness of a monk. But you must eliminate the blurred line between the two. If you choose to watch, watch with intention and set a clear endpoint. If you choose to work, eliminate all distractions. The true strike is always focused. You must train your mind to be fully present in the task at hand, whether it is a duel or a moment of rest. Lesson 3. The principle of the practical, over the ornamental. In my philosophy, I warned against becoming attached to the ornamental, the beautiful but useless. The modern entertainment machine is the ultimate ornament. It is beautifully crafted, but it serves no practical purpose for your personal growth. Your dreams are practical. They require action, effort, and sacrifice. The ornamental stories on the screen are designed to make you forget the practical demands of your own life. The application, the dream-to-action ratio. You must measure your life not by the hours you consume, but by the hours you create. For every hour you spend watching a story, you must commit to spending an hour working on your own. If you find this ratio is unbalanced, if you consume 3 hours, for every 1 hour you create, you are in debt to your own potential. You must treat your dreams as a practical weapon that requires daily sharpening. Do not let the ornamental stories dull your edge. Use the energy and inspiration you gain from a well-told story not as an end in itself, but as a catalyst for your own action. The warrior does not admire the sword. He uses it. The greatest deception of the modern age is the belief that passive consumption is harmless. It is not. It is a slow, silent poison that kills the desire to act. There was once a farmer who dreamed of a magnificent harvest. He wanted the largest fields, the richest soil, and the most abundant yield in the entire province. But he was also addicted to the traveling storytellers who would come through his village. Every evening, instead of preparing his tools or studying the soil, he would sit and listen to tales of legendary harvests in distant lands, stories of fields that yielded grain without effort, and magical seeds that grew overnight. He would listen, mesmerized, and feel a temporary, pleasant glow of inspiration. He would tell himself, "Tomorrow I will start my great work." But tomorrow, the memory of the story was more compelling than the reality of the dirt. He would listen to another tale, and another, until the planting season passed, and then the growing season, and finally the harvest season. He had consumed 1,000 stories of great harvests, but his own fields remained barren. He had lived 1,000 fictional lives, but his own life was unlived. He was defeated not by a drought or a pestilence, but by the pleasure of the unearned story. Your dreams are your field. The time you spend in passive consumption is the time you are allowing the weeds to grow. The stories you watch are the fictional harvests that give you the illusion of progress without the reality of effort. The ultimate principle, The true battle is not against the screen. The true battle is against the part of you that prefers the comfort of the spectator to the difficulty of the creator. You must now choose your identity. Will you be the spectator, watching the lives of others unfold until your own life is over? Or will you be the creator, the warrior who steps onto the field and forges his own destiny? When you apply the Musashi method, you stop moving like a passive consumer and begin moving like a master. Your focus becomes a weapon. Your time becomes a resource guarded with the ferocity of a samurai. You will use the stories of others not as a substitute for your life, but as a brief, sharp inspiration to return to your own work. You will no longer be the man whose dreams are stolen by the screen. You will become the calm, deliberate self, the master of your own attention. You will command your choices. You will set your path. You will be the one who creates the story, not the one who merely watches it. Become the one who acts, and you will find that your life is the only story worth watching.